Good morning. I'll put that down. Thank you for tuning in. If you are probably later, because I don't think anyone's actually watching right now, but we'll get there. It's all right. We had a nice little discussion time last time. So hopefully some of you come back this time and have a bit of a friendly discussion. Today, I've been driving around a lot. I've been driving to Hawke's Bay a few times, and especially in Hawke's Bay. I mean, maybe around here as well. I've seen a few as well. It's election season here in New Zealand. Fun times, and so my focus normally is not really that too focused towards New Zealand politics, which is probably a fault. I probably need to pay a bit more attention to New Zealand politics. But one particular thing that's kind of stuck out to me during this particular election cycle, I suppose, because there's these billboards up around town and around along the roads, and you know people advertising their political parties and things like that. And one particular party has stood out to me. And I'd always kind of known that these people are awful, and I don't actually know. I probably should look into the polling or something like that as to how popular they are. And in fact, I might do that real quick as well, and see what maybe the polling's at, or whether we do that kind of polling here in New Zealand. I don't know. Again, I paid too much attention to American politics, and they have all this polling data and stuff fucking years before before the election even happens. But in this particular case, so the party's called ACT. I don't know why they're called ACT. ACT. I'll look into that as well. That's next on the list. But the party's called ACT, and it's led by a man called David Seymour, and they suck. They're fucking awful. And the thing that's really stood out to me is the sort of creep in of this far right rhetoric that is sort of popularized by Donald Trump and the American Republican Party, the GOP, and how that has kind of crept into our New Zealand politics, and particularly here with ACT, who I know are a more right wing party, but then also the more, I suppose, centre right political party in New Zealand, which is called Labour. And Labour. What was the one that I saw? I think one of their slogans is like "Get our country back on track," or these kind of really kind of low, really kind of. Oh, let me have a look, see if I can find it. Labour NZ slogans. Labour NZ slogans. Images. Let's see. Oh. Did I say Labour? I mean National. See, this is how little I pay attention to New Zealand politics. Oh, what a fucking idiot. Here we go. More jobs, strong team, better economy. Yeah, I mean, normal kind of conservative stuff. But yeah, see, get our country back on track. It's like, what are you talking about? I mean, that just to me seems very. It sounds very innocuous, but it's also, I feel like it's kind of signaling to a certain sect of the right, particularly following COVID and Jacinda Ardern and things like that, who was a very polarizing figure. There's a certain sect of the right who hears that and go, it's dog whistle. But more overt in their dog whistling and nonsense rhetoric is the New Zealand Party ACT, who is led by David Seymour, and I want to take a look a little bit at their campaign a little bit today, see what they're saying about our country and the things they want to do to try and fix that. Excuse me while I take a sip of coffee. And then look at why their solutions are stupid. And then I want to go on and talk about Jordan Peterson and things like that as well, which, that's what I do. And then I've got a video of a cat at the end, which is fantastic. So that's what I'm going to do right now. So let me transfer on over. Video window capture. Sorry, I should have set this up before I. Oh jeez. Where are we? Oh, are you kidding me? Come on now. Sorry, my OBS has been kind of weird. Let's do this. Do that. Add one of these. Window capture. Okie dokie. Why is it not working? Should be able to. Sorry, my OBS is being bullshit. What's going on? Come on now. I'll go back to here. And then go back to here. And then see what happens. Display window capture. There we go. There we go. Mr. David Seymour. Here we go. For real. Sorry, I have to resize. Oh my god, I have to resize this. That is very professional. Professional of me. Fucking. That's Mr. Seymour. Mr. Seymour. It's good to see more of you. Seymour makes me think of Simpsons and what do you call it? Steamed hams. Okay, so this is David Seymour and his running mate, deputy person, Brooke Van Velder, deputy, and then there's the rest of them there, who are, I believe, all members of Parliament, candidates. They might be. Seymour. Lol. No, I suppose so. They mustn't be members of Parliament because they're just the ranked, So I suppose depending on how many seats they get in the Parliament, they will then go ahead and add more and more and more of these people going down the ranks. Also, okay, the first thing I wanted to see was number of seats. ACT NZ. Let's have a look. What do we got? ACT NZ is ACT New Zealand, right wing, classical liberal. Of course, classical liberal party. Okay, so they've got 10 MPs in the Parliament, which is surprising and kind of sad. Prominent right wing populist faction. Young ACT is an associate, albeit unofficial student wing. I don't know what ACT stands for. Policies, law and order, social issues, Maori issues. Yeah, they are not okay with our, I suppose, because we have like a specific, it's supposed to have a specific number of Maori representatives in the government, which I think is a good thing, considering that, colonialism and all that sort of nonsense. Okay, so this is ACT, and they stand for enforce consequences for criminals, / wasteful government spending, and end divisive race-based policies. So these were the things that I kind of saw it now. So there was a like I say, these billboards are up all over the place. And you can tell that these people have a lot of money because their billboards are all over the goddamn place. So like this. End division by race. Again, just like ridiculous right-wing dog whistle nonsense that I feel like it's just bled over from this from all the nonsense that goes on in America. So in division by race. The other one that I saw is law and order. So that's their other slogan, as well as the other one. But here we go, law and order, which it could not be more overtly far right nonsense if you fucking tried, because it's literally what Trump yells all the time: law and order, law and order. So here we have Act's plan for law and order. I'm just gonna have a bit of a read. You deserve to be safe in your community. You shouldn't have to worry that gang members will force you off the road as you drive across town, or feel unsafe walking home after dark. True story. I hate it when I'm driven off the road by gang members. Gang numbers have skyrocketed after 4 years of Labour's kindness, in quotes. They've taken over our streets. LA-style shootings are now a regular occurrence. Violent gun crime is up 47%. Youth crime is spiraling out of control, with ram raids and dairies being robbed every other day. Victims should be at the centre of the justice system. We shouldn't be cuddling criminals who have offended against them. You need a government who takes responsibility for what's happening on its watch. There need to be swift and serious consequences for offending in our communities. New Zealanders deserve safer communities. And I mean, yeah, but the solutions you're offering are bullshit. So we've got gang control orders. So this is to crack down on gang members, hit gangs where it hurts. Hit the tool for hitting gangs where it hurts: their wallets. Take away the gang's money. And then tax law applies to everyone, even gang members. So that's important. We need to make sure that we tax everyone evenly. Not evenly. I'm not sure if they mean that, but I mean, like, everyone has to pay taxes. Okay, good. I mean, being a right-wing thing, people don't normally like paying taxes, but, good. Tax everybody. Excuse me, I'm going to sneeze. Excuse me. And so here we go. Here's a really good one. We're going to crack down on youth offences. Act will introduce an infringement notice office for shoplifting, resulting in instant practical punishment, which fines, such as fines and community service, to ensure that the shoplifter takes responsibility for their offending. Excuse me, Jesus Christ. Punishments can include fines, as well as performing community services such as picking up litter, cleaning graffiti, or volunteering at a community group. This will mean instant practical penalties connected to the crime. If you're caught shoplifting on a Friday, they could be cleaning graffiti on Saturday morning. Good stuff. Well done. Okay. Ankle bracelets for serious youth offenders. So serious offenders, you get, so again, going after youth crime, very important stuff. Blah, 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 3 strikes for burglary. Minimum literacy standards for parole. Act will require individuals to complete skills or rehabilitation programs prior to being considered for parole. By making rehabilitation or skills programs compulsory for parole, the onus is on prisons to provide that service at the scale required. Prisoners without the ability to read well enough to get a driver's license will not be eligible for parole. So that, I mean, on the one hand, yes, I think that prisons should be doing more to rehabilitate people, but I think that that's kind of fucked up, if I'm honest. But anyway, so let's first look at the tax thing. So we need to the tax law needs to apply to everyone. So they're saying that they want to go after gangs, and tax gangs more, so that will mean that they, they've reduced their power by taking away their money and stuff like that. Who are the greatest tax offenders in New Zealand? Who is it? The random tax evaders? Is it the people? Is it me and you, the lowly person who forgets to pay the their tax on their 30,000 a year salary or anything like that, or is it the gang people? No, it's not. It's white collar criminals. Let me see. So here we go. Billions likely lost in tax evasion as white-collar crime investigators go underfunded. So if David Seymour and the ACT Party were actually interested in... See, this is the thing, is their focus is towards reducing gang violence, I suppose, and they use this tax thing as a solution for that, I suppose. So it's not necessarily that they are trying to fix... any kind of tax loophole system or anything like that. But if you're going to talk about the people not paying the taxes, the people who aren't paying the taxes are white collar criminals. You've got billions of dollars that go missed from the IRS. IRD, we call it IRD here in New Zealand, and it's because we've got underfunding on criminal investigators who would go after white collar criminals. The problem is not low level shit. It's these people. Oh, hold on, is this the? Oh, that's a different thing. Sorry, that's a different thing I was looking at. The disparity with other, and also they get this sort of leniency apparently as well, which is. I mean, this is an opinion article. If you look at the justice and policies of main political parties, you'll see references to Gangs Act. There you go. So there you go. Violent Criminals National, greater investment in policing, labour, social justice, Green Party, and problems with criminal justice system. Te Pate Maori. What you won't see is reference to white-collar crime. So this is, I mean, it's a thing that you'd think would be something that would be a priority for many politicians in New Zealand. I mean, maybe not for the politicians, but, this is the thing, is they're like, it's that you want to talk about solving some of the societal problems. The focus is in all completely the wrong places. White-collar crime is responsible for the loss of billions in tax revenue, which could be used to aid in fixing many societal ills. You can use that stuff to fund education. You can use that to fund, to reduce poverty and things like that. And poverty is a direct cause of the higher crime. This is something I'll talk about in a second. But I mean, if you want to talk about the amount of crime or gang gang activity and things like that, all of that has a connection to poverty, something that can be aided by government programs, which could be funded by the money that's being stolen by white collar criminals. So their focus is in the wrong place. I feel like I repeat myself a lot, but again, it's a focus on an individual level rather than a systemic issue. You're going, okay, there's gangs here. We need to focus on those gangs and crack down on them, blah 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 blah. But that doesn't fix the systemic issue that leads to that outcome in the first place. So you've got high levels of poverty. Excuse me. Lower, attendance for education or ability to get to education, in certain communities and things like that. The lasting effects of imperialism and systemic racism that continue to pervade our society. These things that lead up to and result in gang violence or gang activity, as well as youth offence, which I'll get to in a second. But this is stuff that could be addressed by the use of money that's been stolen by white collar criminals. But these are never the people that are the focus of any of these political parties, because talking about systemic issues is, it's much easier, I suppose. Much easier to say, oh, look at the gangs, fucking gangs, and you get a very emotional response to that from a large part of the country. But coming along and saying, oh, okay, so we need to crack down on Pack and Save or something. I don't know who the fucking, or the people behind Pack, or I don't know, whoever the people are that aren't paying these huge numbers of taxes that can be used to aid in these in reducing these societal ills. And it's also something that takes place over a longer period of time, I suppose. I mean, when you address systemic issues, it's not something that it's not a quick fix. I mean, obviously going after gangs or whatever immediately, has a quick and visceral response, I suppose, and people can see a thing happening, but it doesn't actually address any of the underlying issue, is basically what I'm getting at. So, David Seymour, why? So let's get on to the other thing that was kind of prominent in that in their policies here. This law and order policy, which is to crack down on youth. I mean, it just sounds. I mean, to begin with, youth. Just the idea that you want to crack down on youth offenders rather than doing something to address the fact that there are fucking youth offenders in the first place. Why are younger people committing crime, or why is there shoplifting happening, or why are more young people getting involved in gang activity and things like that? Why are these things happening? Not this stuff is happening and we need to throw a fucking rock at it or something. Why are these things happening? And what can we do to address those systemic issues? So let's look at. So according to this Child, Youth and Wellbeing, a government website here, criminal offending in childhood and young adulthood is correlated with poor current and future well-being in a range of areas. This indicator looks at offending rates where children and young people are the perpetrators of crime. Okay. So obviously we don't want kids committing crime. Great. Okay. But here, most children and young people who offend are also experiencing poor well-being in other areas of their lives. The majority of children who offend, particularly those who commit more serious offences, are also not attending or achieving at school, have learning difficulties or mental health issues, come from homes experiencing poverty or material hardship, and or have been exposed to family violence. When a child or young person breaks the law, the youth justice system carefully considers the age of any family issues that may be affecting their safety and behaviour. The aim is to work with them in a way that provides. Yeah, but that's not the point. The point is this here. The cause of the majority of youth crime is not some sort of like innate pathology or something. I mean, this is, again, there's like a tinge of racism in here, because it's like when people think of youth crime, I mean, what do you think of when you think of youth crime? Are you thinking of, fucking Johnny Do Good down at the local golf club or whatever? Or are you thinking of an inner city or a ghetto, a kid from a ghetto or something like that? I mean, and that kind of tells you what that stereotype kind of tells you a little bit about what the problem is. Is poverty. The problem here is poverty, is the lack of access to education, mental health issues, and perpetuation of family violence, things like that. And family violence is another thing that's coming out of poverty. So these are issues that could be addressed by these are systemic problems that could be addressed by this party act, who is saying that they want to reduce youth crime, but instead of addressing the root issues to the problem, what they want to do is they want to punish the offenders. They're getting hard on crime. They want to, But what does that do? I haven't. I need to look up some stuff, but I know, and it seems obvious that when you start to, you punish, you punish offenders, and that serious offenders will get harsher penalties and things like that. You start to you kind of just perpetuate the problem, and then you end up, in America, you've got younger black men who get sent to jail and then end up coming out as hardened criminals because that's what going to jail does to you, or going to prison does to you. I'm not saying that's necessarily what's happening here, but that's the attitude that leads. That's the policy that leads to that outcome. Just a perpetuation of of crime and things like that. So instead, what needs to be done? Like I say, you could go after white collar criminals. You could take that money that they have been stealing from the New Zealand people by evading billions of dollars of taxes, and invest that into reducing poverty, increasing education, things like this, mental health services. I feel like I'm getting blasted in the face by the sun. It's a little bit better on my shiny forehead. Look at that. But that's the sort of stuff that these right-wing parties don't and won't do. Why? That's a different question. Why don't they, they want to do that sort of stuff? In America, it's because money. They want to keep their money in power. That's what they want to do. I'm not 100% sure about, like I say, I don't pay a lot of attention to David Seymour or what he does, but, this is some nonsense. Okay, so law and order, what can be done? Nothing that ACT is proposing here. Children born into poverty more likely to become criminals. Children born into poverty are 3 times more likely to have long-term behavioural problems. The Ministry of Social Development report shows that within 9 months, babies living with material hardship are angrier and react badly in stressful situations. Those characteristics become more pronounced as they get older. Blah, 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 blah. Just all that stuff that I just said. So, Oh, and here we go. This is an example of a far-right pundit in America. We know Mr. Matt Walsh talking about his solution to poverty. Ooh. What's Matt's very what's the word? Oh, it's not subtle. It's oh, geez, I can't even think of the word. It doesn't matter. People are scandalized that I advocated harsh punishment. Can't even speak. People are scandalized that I advocated harsh punishments for criminals like in Singapore. My critics are right. Oh, my critics are right, sorry. My critics are right. Much better to be tolerant of drugs and crime so that every American city looks like a post-apocalyptic wasteland. This is working out great. We wouldn't want to execute the people that have turned our cities into a zombie film. That would be mean. Let's keep them alive so our communities can be unlivable, disgusting hellscapes. Great plan, guys. So yeah, Matt Walsh literally wants to execute people in poverty. Cool. Again, it's just I mean, this is an extreme example, but this is an individual focused solution and a quick and simple kind of thing. But this is again an extreme example, but it's the same approach to solutions that we see with ACT. It's you've got to punish the criminals. Rather than fixing the cause of the problem, looking at the root issue. Here you've got, poverty or drug, homelessness, drug addiction and things like that. But these people are against, any kind of help for drug addicts or homeless people. You could, but because they think that there is some sort of pathological thing wrong, that there's a thing about these people that have gotten them to this place. They are broken, innately broken, and therefore they are there because of their own brokenness, not because of some societal failing, which is what it actually is. It's a societal failing that these people are in these situations, and that this thing, these neighborhoods are like this. But addressing societal or systemic issues isn't a quick fix. It takes time. It takes effort. It takes lots of different things, and it takes fighting wankers like this and this kind of mindset. So there you go, David Seymour. This is what your nonsense leads to: advocating for the killing of homeless people. Excuse me. So ACT's one of their other policies here is ending division by race. Oh, I've got myself right in front of there. There we go. End division by race. So when I first saw this, I was like, oh my God, you fucking wanker, Jesus Christ. But it's not super specific about what they mean. But they do have, again, on their website, we can have a look at what they mean by division by race. So here, this is David Seymour writing this. Race-based, that's really hard to say, race-based wait lists. that is a challenge to get the tongue around. So race-based wait lists are indefensible. Using ethnicity to prioritize healthcare wait lists is lazy and divisive, and it's not who we are as a country, says ACT leader David Seymour. Te Whatu Ora's new waitlist equality adjusted tool uses 5 criteria to prioritize patients for planned care, one of which is ethnicity. If the first 4 criteria of clinical need, time, already weighted, geographical location, and economic deprivation are doing a good job, then racial discrimination is not needed. When he says racial discrimination, he means against white people. The only possible effect of racial discrimination is to make sure a person in greater need waits longer for an operation and may die on the waiting list because they had the wrong ancestors. A person who is in great clinical need has waited a long time, lives far from major medical facilities, is poor, could be Maori, European, Pacific Islanders, and they should all be treated equally. So blah 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 blah. It's all the same shit. It's all the opposition to affirmative action and all that sort of stuff. It's absolute. It's nonsense. Again, it's looking at. See, this is the thing: is when people, when governments or whatever try to address systemic issues that cause racial injustice, that cause racial or inequality in a particular way, you're accused of being of engaging in racial discrimination, which is nonsense. So you can't fucking win. It's like you've got this issue. And in this case, what the issue is and what the issue has been, which I'll talk about in a second, is a systemic injustice in health, in healthcare, which leads to lower life expectancy of the Maori population in New Zealand. It's probably a similar thing for African Americans in America, things like that. But in New Zealand, there is issues with the health system and many other factors, including poverty, education, and all those kinds of things. All of these systemic issues that compound over a person's life and affect certain people because of racism. and end up causing a lower life expectancy for certain kinds of people. To address that, the government or these health providers have implemented a giving priority to people of Maori descent. I don't know the exact. It might even be more innocuous than they actually think it is. They obviously they see something like this and immediately lose their shit because it's racial discrimination. You know what's racial discrimination is how Maori people have been treated for the majority of the existence of Aotearoa New Zealand. We're an imperialized country. We live on stolen land. British people came here, genocided the Maori people, and then it imposed British law upon the Maori people, and that has repercussions down the line as these injustices which are baked into the system which is imposed by British rule. Those have a ripple effect on the ancestors of a subjugated people. Seems obvious to me. I mean, it seems obvious to me. So, and lower life expectancy of Maori people is a consequence of that. So to address that, you need to combat the systemic issues that are causing these disparities. So hold on, I'll bring up this. This was just a quick thing here. So it's a study from the National Library of Medicine, Racism and Health in New Zealand, Prevalence over Time and Associations Between Recent Experiences of Racism and Health and Wellbeing Measurements Using National Survey Data. So basically this is just a quick, like a survey that shows that that non-European groups experience higher experiences of racism in healthcare in New Zealand. So that's just a starter. But I mean, the point is that more the waitlist algorithm. So I was reading. Okay. Yeah, this is the one I wanted to look at. How is this a thing? The persistent life expectancy gap that must come down. Measures that directly address the racial chasm in the length of Kiwi lives should not be feared. Yeah, exactly. Measures that directly address. So when you do things to try and reduce the gap, that is seen as racial discrimination by these doofuses. It's not. It's trying to reduce the gap in life expectancy between Maori and non-Maori people. There's a 7-year gap between Maori and non-Maori life expectancy. Should fall within 5 years. The chief executive of New Zealand, the New Maori Health Authority, says. When was this article published? Oh, this was last year. Okay, cool. So they are. So it seems to me that this targets. Mm. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. The life expectancy gap between Maori and non-Maori may be the most telling indicator of all. According to the latest available data from 2019, life expectancy at birth for Maori men was 73.4 years compared to 80.9 years for non-Maori men. For Maori women, it was 77.1 years compared to 84.4 years for non-Maori women. The 7-year gap was one of the reasons the government set up the Maori Health Authority, whose job would include commissioning services and achieving equitable outcomes for Maori. At the current rate of progress, however, it will be more than a century before Maori and non-Maori have equal life expectancy. Yeah. Lives cut short. Graham King, diagnosed with diabetes. So what was the bit that I really thought was really interesting? See, it's not even just that their life expectancy is less, it's that the quality of life is lower as well. And it's to do with all these compounding factors that affect Maori people over, more likely to live in poverty, more likely to not be able to access. Yeah, there you go. Racism looks like sending fewer Maori for diagnostic tests and having delays in being diagnosed with cancer. So when you're saying, stop racial disparity in race-based wait lists, these are tools implemented to try and reduce the gap between the life expectancy of Maori New Zealanders and non-Maori New Zealanders. To address racial injustice, you need to talk about race. And to talk about race and to do things with race at the forefront of your attention is not the same as racial discrimination. It's not. Racial discrimination, especially it would be a different story if it was stuff that was done to increase the gap between Maori and New Zealand and non-Maori people's life expectancy. But the reality is, like, this is not going out in the street and shooting a bunch of white people so that the gap goes down. You're not stopping. You're not negatively affecting white people in this sense. You are positively affecting an oppressed group of people to bring them back up to the to this level. But it's easier to fucking complain about how racism towards whites. This is the thing, is that we're talking about dog whistles and stuff like that. It is just a big old dog whistle. It's a dog whistle towards the racism against white people thing that all these far right fucking lunatics go on about all the time. As soon as you start talking about race, as soon as you start trying to implement racial policy that reduces race, that targets racial injustice, that is, David Seymour here is talking about how it's racial discrimination to do that, but that is an extension of this racism against whites thing, which is an extension of fucking fascist Nazi right-wing nonsense. The white genocide bullshit, which is a Nazi conspiracy theory, white genocide. That addressing racial injustice using racial policy like this to shore up a gap, that is racial discrimination. That kind of rhetoric fits directly underneath the white genocide or great replacement Nazi conspiracy theory. They're directly connected. Maybe a lesser, again, that's why it's a dog whistle thing. It's like a less overtly racist thing, but it's still part of that same kind of rhetoric, which is fucked up, yo. Okay, I'll get on to some more fun stuff now and some stuff that's a little bit less New Zealand focused. Tim Pool suggests high-quality dudes should start shaming women based on their body count so that they will change their behavior. My God. Yeah, this is very incel behavior. I wonder why Tool Tim Pool doesn't have a girlfriend. Does he have a girlfriend? Maybe he does. I don't know. Anyway, let's have a listen to this.
The men are saying, we want something different. We don't want the Instagram hoe that I can fly in overnight just to have a quick,
That is biology.
That's never happening.
That's biology.
With all due respect, that's never.
Yeah.
No,
but hold on.
Yeah,
Like,
go ahead.
I agree a lot with what he's saying. Imagine if women are only looking at the top 8, 9, 10 of men.
Yeah.
If guys like you just started shaming women, do they? You know who's paying for OnlyFans, right? It's lower quality guys.
Yeah.
100%.
So if high quality dudes,
Hold on. Okay, so I don't know who this first guy is. Hold on. Let's go back here.
the men are saying, we want something different. We don't want the Instagram hoe that I can fly in overnight just to have a quick,
That is biology.
That's never happening.
I don't want the quick Instagram hoe I can fly in overnight to have a quick. Okay.
With all due respect, that's never.
Yeah.
No, but hold on.
Yeah,
Like,
go ahead.
I agree a lot with what he's saying. Imagine if
So
women
this
are
guy said that's not happening, and so here Tim
only
starts
looking
to
at the
talk
top
about
8,
shame.
9, 10 of men.
Yeah.
If guys like you just started shaming women, do they? You know who's paying for OnlyFans, right? It's lower quality
100%.
guys.
Yeah.
100%.
So if
Yeah.
high quality dudes who got really nice watches and pull
High quality dudes who've got really nice watches, like like his idea of a high quality dude is someone who's got a lot of money. I mean, isn't that just the opposite of the Instagram girl or whatever that he's upset about? Or the first guy was upset about? You know who's paying for OnlyFans? Everyone pays for porn. I mean, idiots, because you know it's free, guys. Have you heard of this? Porn's free, right? Everyone pays for porn, Tim. But also, like, okay, the high quality guys are the ones with the watches and the cars and those are the ones who have a lot of money, and they can afford to pay for OnlyFans. So, I imagine there are plenty of high quality dudes, who are paying for OnlyFans as well.
up in a Bugatti, and this woman's like, "Yeah, I want to come hang with you." And he goes, "So yeah, what's your body count?" And he goes, "How dare you ask me that? I don't want no hoe in my car." And he takes off.
Yeah.
Now she's embarrassed.
Okay, so this is also just like that gold digger nonsense. There's these. I used to see all these videos online, of guy exposes gold digger, where like it'll be a dude, like approaching a woman in the street and being like, "Hey, do you want to go out or whatever?" And she'd be like, "Nah," and then he goes, "Okay," and then goes and gets into his like Bugatti or whatever, which she didn't realize was his, and then she comes over and she's like, "Oh, hey, is that your car?" And he'd be like, "Yeah," and she'd be like, "Oh, well, actually, maybe I do want to have that drink or whatever, So and it's this idea that women only want dudes with a lot of money, which is exactly what Tim is saying that the high quality guys are. So hold on, high quality guys, which is a positive way to talk about these people. So people men with a lot of money who can afford cars and watches and all that sort of shit, they are high quality. So Tim thinks that those are good. That's a good thing to be. So surely, why would it be bad if women wanted to get with these high quality men? He's saying that they would get with these. It's so fucking confusing. What the fuck are you talking, Tim? What the fuck are you talking about, Tim? You fucking moron. That was... Tim Pool. What the fuck? What the fuck are you talking about, Tim Pool? I don't understand. Okay, so he thinks that you know, when a girl, so when the, but that, yeah, again, that's what those dudes would do. That stupid like gold digger thing is when, you know, like a chick comes up to you in the street and sees you with your Bugatti and which happens all the time, and then you say to them, what's your body count? And she says, oh, how dare you ask me that? And then you go,
she got shut down, and more women are going to say, if I want a high value man, because only the guys are going to come after me are going to be high value.
So maybe flip.
So he's saying that women want high quality men, and by high quality men he means men with lots of money, who are obviously high quality and not fucking douchebags like this fucking moron. Women want high quality men, and they're going to go after those high quality men, and the way that they're going to get them is by being less of a hoe, so having less of a body count, because these high quality men are shaming all the women who have high body counts. Like, what the fuck are you talking about, Tim? Well, like, I don't. What the fuck are you talking about? It's honestly embarrassing. It's so embarrassing that this fucking guy. Jesus Christ.
Let's be real here, though.
Okay, are we going to turn this into the Dreamcast?
Yeah.
Like, my God. Okay, so that's Tim's fucking contribution to the discourse for today. This is fun. So Jordan Peterson's having a fight with Mehdi Hassan. Hold on, which is the first one? Okay, let me have a look at this. Hold on. Shoot. Oh shoot. Hold on. Go back. How do I go to the next? Back to grid view. Oh, okay. Here we go. That's how we do it. Okay, Reddit's changed, obviously. Okay, so which is the first one though? I think this might be the first one. Okay, so tonight, so here's Mehdi Hassan, who was on MSNBC. And tonight, this brown Muslim is asking the white conservative country to do the same. Get your house in order, crack down on the hate preachers, and condemn the right of white supremacist ideology. So he's talking, from what I understand, terror in Jacksonville. So there was another racist white supremacist shooting in America. Another one. I mean, there's probably one happening right now. That's how often they fucking happen. And Jordan Peterson comes along here and retweets Mehdi Hassan saying, "You're not really brown," and he's doing this weird fucking like poetry thing as well, which I don't understand. He's trying to sound or trying to look sophisticated by putting all his tweets in this like poetic format. It's fucking dumb. You're not really brown, more like light tan, just like white people. Plus you're Caucasian, by definition, buddy. That's hilarious. Nothing to see here. So Mehdi Hassan came back and quote tweeted Jordan Peterson, "Nothing to see here, just Jordan Peterson, a white man telling me I'm not brown, I'm actually white. Also, how am I Caucasian by definition?" This emoji. Yeah, exactly. And so here we go. This is the fun part. So hold on. You're not black. You're not black. You're not Asian. What's left? Caucasian. That's not. Oh, hold on. It's missing a tweet. Okay. Anyway, so I think Jordan Peterson said, "You're not black. You're not Asian. What's left? Caucasian." It's not that difficult. Why am I not Asian? Peterson can't stop digging. This is fascinating, bizarre to watch. The guy has a PhD. You know, India is literally in Asia, right? Where do you get your doctorate from? Again, Jordan Peterson. So Mehdi Hassan is just fucking schooling Jordan Peterson. And so Jordan's come along and said that Mehdi Hassan is not brown and that he's, did he say he's white by definition? Oh, he's Caucasian by definition. So this is the funny thing. And so if you have a look at this again, this is his reply to Mehdi Hassan saying, you know that India is literally in Asia, right? Because it is. Have it your way, you boring bloviate. He's doing this fucking poetry thing. He's not a serious person. It's ridiculous. Bloviate. I don't even know what that word is. Bloviator. Bloviation. Bloviation is in a style of empty, pompous political speech that originated in Ohio and was used by U.S. President Warren G. Harding, who described it as the art of speaking for as long as the occasion warrants and saying nothing. That is literally Jordan Peterson in a fucking nutshell. Jordan, you're describing us. Jordan, look at me. Look at me, Jordan. Jordan, look at me. You're describing yourself. Jordan Peterson, this bloviation. That's you. That's you, Jordan. Take a look in the mirror. This is my ASMR. What is it? ASMR right-wing pundit edition. Jordan Peterson. Take a look in the mirror, because you're describing yourself, you fucking moron. Okay, so... Okay, fine, you're not Caucasian, you're black, or Asian, or whatever you want to be, just like all your bloody progressives, all you bloody progressives. For anyone who cares, here's Wikipedia, here's what Wikipedia has to say. Oh, geez, sorry, that was right off the side there. Here's what Wikipedia has to say. 19th century classifications of peoples of India were initially uncertain if the Dravidians and the Senegales were Caucasoid or separate Dravidian race, but by and in the 20th century, anthropologists predominantly declared Dravidians to be Caucasoid. My God, I mean, if you don't already recognize that as nonsense race science, then there's something wrong. But so No Nothing came along here and said, "Thank you for linking that Wikipedia page. Very edifying." Oh shoot. Yeah, thank you for linking that Wikipedia page. It's very edifying. Scientific racism of the 19th and early 20th centuries, dividing human into three races based on common physical characteristics. So it's nonsense race science. Jordan, look at me. Jordan. Wait, hold on. Jordan, look at me. Jordan Peterson, you're a racist. You're a 19th century racist. Fun times, Jordan Peterson the racist. Anyway, next thing. There was this. Which came up on Jordan Peterson's subreddit. So Jordan Peterson, JBP, Jordan B. Peterson, was glaringly correct about Page. So Elliot Page either released a new memoir, or it's been out for a while, or someone's read it and been like, ah. But Elliot Page released a memoir. Oh, here we go. In Elliot Page's new memoir, Page Boy, the star reveals that he was groomed and sexually abused by multiple people as a teenager working in Hollywood. And it's got a bluey thing meme under here. And there it is. So what they're saying here is that because Elliot was abused and groomed as a teenager in Hollywood, that fucking annoying. Let's try that. That's better. Was groomed and abused as a child in Hollywood. That's why he's trans. Like, there's no connection. There is literally no connection. But for some reason, like, I literally don't even know how. It's like saying that it's like, because Jordan Peterson has been going on for ages and ages and ages about Elliot and about their transition and about the criminal butchers who did their surgery and things like that. Even though Elliot looks fucking happy and awesome these days. If you have a look at pictures of Elliot Page now compared to before he transitioned, there's a glaringly obvious difference between how how they were then and how they are now. But that doesn't matter to Jordan Peterson. All Jordan Peterson sees is a trans person being a trans person, and that is the worst thing in the world. And they're criminal butchers, all that sort of nonsense. Anyway, so Jordan Peterson has been going on about this stuff for a whole bunch of time, and now it's come out that Elliot has suffered from grooming and abuse as a teenager. These two things are not connected at all. What's the connection? There is none. It's like saying that you know, that there being a narrative around that eating oranges makes a person into a sexual deviant, and then someone comes out as a sexual deviant, and then it also comes out later that it turns out that they're a big fan of oranges. I mean, what I just said makes no sense. Made no sense, and it was a very dumb attempt at an analogy. So I apologize for that, but that just goes to show how fucking ridiculous whatever these wankers are saying. So no, Jordan B. Peterson was not right about Elliot Page. I don't know what the comments are saying. Let's have a look. Hold on. Trying to be glaringly correct about Page. That's very sad. Hold on. Let's make sure that I've got these here. Hold on. That's very sad. See, this is a normal human reaction to learning something like this. Well, kind of. This human is doing their best to propagate the darkest part of their life onto literally the world. So sadness and anger are both pretty valid. You're not wrong, but how much of that behavior can be attributed to the abuse they misgendering went through? It's hard to say. 1 in 4 women and 1 in 7 men report experiences of sexual assault, and a very small percentage of them are transgender, with an even smaller amount wielding Elliot's level of influence. I'm actually unfamiliar with their behavior or public image post-transition. Is it bad? Good questions. Jordan B. Peterson's main argument is that misgendering, parading about it, has probably convinced thousands of kids to convert. And there's some more ethical questions. He makes this point quite effectively, in my opinion. Well, isn't this every celebrity who has this power? Convinced is absolutely not the right word to use. Legitimately. Smoking, drinking, violence, tons of sex with tons of partners, having family, being a family person, loving ad infinitum, we are absolutely influenced by the media we ingest, and for many, the personal lives of celebrities. There's a difference between influence and convince when it's from afar. It sounds a lot more like coercion than it could possibly... It sounds a lot more like coercion than it possibly could be. Okay. I get the issue here. I just really, really, really like us to focus on fixing the problems rather than the symptoms of the problems. And I don't know if we can do that or can even agree on what the actual problems are. It's not healthy to have this much mental illness, obviously, yet all we seem willing to do is to have some segment of the population want more mental illness resources. In and of itself, that's fine, but as the problems get stronger and more common, eventually resources run out, and what then? I'm sure rather not be in the position in the first place. I mean... Fine, but I mean, they're talking about a transgender person as if there's like some pathological thing wrong with them. There's nothing wrong with them. There's nothing wrong with being trans. There's nothing wrong with trans people. The mental illnesses are a result of the way that trans people are portrayed and treated by society. They're not like comorbidities or whatever. I maybe used that word wrong. Overall, that discussion there was not as bad as I thought it would be, but it's still kind of silly that they're just talking about trans people as if there's some sort of, fucking cancer. It's fucked up. Anyway, next. Bomb threat causes library evacuation after anti-trans activist Riley Gaines attacked it online. She's now threatening to sue Pink News for reporting on it. So Riley Gaines, who is a transphobe, Riley Gaines, who is a transphobe, she is bad at swimming and then got upset because a trans person beat her. Actually, I think the trans person actually got the same as her or something. That's just the way things are, Jamie. What did you expect? It's the internet. Trans people. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's a bad time. But welcome. Hi. Thanks for joining. So Riley Gaines, as far as I understand, she lost or got even the same as as a trans person in swimming, and then got really upset because she didn't win everything, even though she was beaten apparently by a bunch of other cis women, from what I understand. Let me have a look. I'll see if I can find it. Riley Gaines swimming loss. Let's have a look. Riley Gaines scorches transgender athlete Leah Thomas are left there with no trophy. It's just the most ridiculous entitlement on the goddamn planet. I left there with no trophy after tie with Leah. So first of all, she tied with Leah Thomas. Freestyle finished tied 5th. So Riley Gaines, who is a swimmer. Oh my god, these fucking ads. Jesus Christ. Riley Gaines is a swimmer. No, fuck off. Stop that. Stop that. Go away. Okay. Riley Gaines, University of Kentucky swimmer Riley Gaines continues to speak out about the effects of transgender participation in collegiate sports. Specifically, Leah Thomas's appearance at the recent NCAA championships. Here's what she said previously about the issue. In the 200 freestyle final in the NCAA Women's Championship last month, Kentucky senior Riley Gaines tied 5th with Penn's Leah Thomas, the transgender swimmer who was the center of attention at the meet because she was allowed to compete against cisgender females in NCAA rules. Thomas was the NCAA champion for the 500-meter free, and she was favored to win the 200 free as well. But She finished almost a second and a half off her best time and more than 2 seconds behind the race winner, Taylor Ruck. So, hi, Torin. Long time. Exactly. This is like, okay, so Ronnie Gaines is out here. She's a darling of the far right now. She's got hundreds of thousands of followers on Twitter, X, whatever the fuck it's called, and she, is speaking out about, continues to speak about the effects of transgender participation in collegiate sports. Oh, what a hero to the people! But she was tied for 5th. It's not that she didn't come first, because she wasn't going to come first in either way. I left there with no trophy. Oh. I just realized I don't have my cool lights on. Cool lights. Now my face looks a bit more red. That's weird. Now it's green. It's good, my friend. How are you? Thanks for joining in. What was I going to say? So it's not that she would have won if Leah Thomas was there or not. Like, if Leah Thomas wasn't there, she would have still come 4th. Or maybe 5th. She was beaten by cisgender women. It's just, oh my God. But now she's speaking out about the effects of transgender. These are my cool lights. Look, sparkly lights. Sparkly lights. Sparkly. And there's one down there as well, but you can't really see it. So Riley Gaines, here we go, is now upset. So this is what kind of happened. This is how Riley Gaines became kind of famous, I suppose. She started speaking out about, she started being a transphobe, basically. She lost in sports, and then instead of, doing the good sportsmanly thing of just taking it on the chest and, going and improving yourself, she got upset and started pandering to far-right morons. Oh, the transgender people are stealing all they're ruining women's sports. Oh, the thing that the far-right really... women's sports, that really, really important thing. So there was a library in Davis, California, had to be evacuated on Monday after staff received a bomb threat on the phone in a phone call that included anti-LGBT hate speech. It was just hours after transphobic swimmer Riley Gaines posted the library's phone number with instructions to her followers to do their thing. Jesus fucking Christ. The day before, the YOLO County chapter of the... Excuse me, serious. It's very serious stuff. The day before, the Yolo County chapter of the extremist group Mums for Liberty hosted a forum on fair and safe sports for girls in the public library's meeting space. A capacity crowd filled the room. Okay, so Mums for Liberty hosted an event at this particular library. 2 minutes into the presentation, the opening speaker referred to men playing on girls' sports teams, earning an audible reaction from several people in the audience. After the speaker repeated herself, a library staff member warned she would be asked to leave if she continued to misgender people throughout the entire meeting. If that happens, we'll ask the person who said it to immediately leave, said the staff member. The room erupted in applause. Trans women are women, shouted one audience member. California state law recognizes trans women as women, the library explained to one of the meeting's moderators. They are protected under state law. Our policy talks about treating people with respect, and if you are misgendering somebody, that is not respectful. Good. After an extended argument over free speech rights, the woman misgendering trans athletes left the room. So you don't have a right to free speech in a fucking library, you wanker. Also, you don't have a right to, maybe you do have a right to that free speech, but also people have a right to tell you that you're being a fucking asshole and shout you down, if that's the case. And you were, and people told you that your speech was not welcome, and so you were out of there. It's not about free speech. That's about you being a piece of shit and people telling you to fuck off. Within hours, many conservatives online were sharing the video of the incident, demanding the library be held to account for infringing on the transphobic speaker's right to be wrong. Thank you, LGBTQ Nation. That is a fantastic sentence. Within hours, many conservatives online were sharing video of the incident and demanding the library be held to account for infringing on the transphobic speaker's right to be wrong. That's so good. I love it. I love you, LGBTQ Nation. Well done. Okay, here we continue. On Monday morning, Gaines added her voice to the chorus of anti-trans rhetoric, linking the same video and adding a call to action. This is ridiculous, but not shocking, Gaines posted. A female athlete silenced for calling a spade a spade. They won't even engage in civil conversation. Props to the gal for sticking her ground. Engage in civil conversation. It's not a conversation. It's a person on a podium speaking to an audience. There is an inherent power imbalance there. They have a podium. They are speaking to people. They are not engaging in conversation with someone. Engaging in civil conversation isn't being entered into the discussion here. That's stupid. If it was a debate or, just sitting down with someone and talking to them, sure. But they weren't sitting down and talking with someone. They were talking to people. But then, people in that audience told them to fuck off. So, good. What if she got up there and was saying some stuff about how white people are being oppressed or silenced or whatever? I mean, obviously the people on the right, like Matt Walsh and Riley Gaines here, I don't know. I mean, I honestly don't know if Riley Gaines is down that rabbit hole yet, but I know that Matt Walsh is a supporter of Riley Gaines' advocacy here. So, if Matt Walsh was if someone was out there being like, oh, we need to stick up for the whites, or the whites are having their rights taken away. Excuse me, I've got hiccups. The rights are having their whites taken away. The whites are having their rights taken away. And if someone was like, fuck off, you fucking racist, would that be okay? I mean, I think it would be. Because, fuck Nazis. I know it's a very, it's a controversial opinion. But anyway, the point is here that, do we know the librarian's name or phone number? We need the silent majority to do the thing. The silent majority. If you're the silent majority, why do you never shut the fuck up? So, Gaines tweeted to her 700,000 plus followers. So I can actually look at this tweet. I did look at it before. Wait. Oh no, sorry. I thought her account had been suspended. No, it's actually telling me that my account is suspended. Just a reminder that my account on Twitter has been suspended because I made fun of a trans person. No, sorry. I didn't make fun of a trans person. I made fun of a transphobe. That was an awkward slip of the tongue. I did not make fun of a trans person. I made fun of a transphobe person. That's what I meant to say. Anyway, so here's Riley Gaines tweeting about it. And then underneath, tweet still up, the library is, I kind of don't want to show that. I mean, I don't have a really big audience, to be honest. But it's like she's got the fucking phone number and the address of the library right underneath there. And under a tweet that's got 20,000 likes. hours later, the library staff received a bomb threat and a phone call laced with anti-LGBTQ slurs. The police deemed the threat credible and evacuated the library and nearby elementary school. It was unclear if Gaines had actually watched the video she linked. The librarian in question offers his name willingly to the offended speaker. So, Pink News wrote an article that says Riley Gaines anti-trans activist harassment on social media linked to bomb threat in California library. Obviously, she tweeted to her audience the address and maybe I'm not sure if the address is there, but the phone number of this library to her rabid anti-trans audience, and that library and elementary school received a bomb threat, a credible one, deemed by the police to be credible, and evacuated the library and nearby school. They talk about, on one hand, they're talking about protecting children, and on the other hand, they're inciting fucking bomb threats. It's fucked up. And then she's coming along and being like, oh, this is libel and character assassination. You are the only one inciting violence and outrage by this post, but I understand that's the goal. Did you not learn anything from the last time you were sued? Don't worry about changing the article. It's already been screenshotted. Lawyer up. Fuck you, Riley Gaines, you absolute piece of shit. Fuck you. Riley Gaines. Hey, Riley, fuck you. You incited a bomb threat, you piece of shit. Jesus Christ, these fucking people. I'm sorry, I was getting a little bit upset there. but honestly, how can, I mean, she's either lying or stupid, as someone news would say. She's either lying or fucking stupid, and she can't be so stupid as to not see that her tweeting the phone number of a library to her massive audience of anti-trans bigots, that library then receiving a bomb threat, that those two things aren't connected. She can't be that fucking stupid. She can't be that fucking stupid. But she knows that her audience is that stupid because she plays dumb. And obviously this tweet here has gotten 50,000 likes of her saying, oh, libel. Fuck right off, you absolute ghoul. Jesus Christ. I'd like specifically to draw attention to Grey Owen for being the person to write this article. Is it this, the LGBTQ Nation one? Sorry. Yeah, it is Grey Owen. Greg Owen, sorry. I read that as Grey Owen. Yeah, Greg Owen wrote this article. So there you go. Thank you, Greg Owen. But fuck you, Riley Gaines, you piece of shit. So here's another example of an anti-trans bigot inciting violence. Trans activists blamed me for, this is Matt Walsh, trans activists blamed me after California shop owner was shot in an altercation about pride flag hanging in the shop. An altercation. No, she was shot in the face because she had a pride flag in her fucking shop. And the person who shot her was a follower of yours, Matt Walsh. You preach nonstop about LGBTQ people being evil pedos and are surprised when your fans kill LGBT supporters. I mean, exactly. Hey, Matt Walsh, fuck you. This woman was murdered because of you. Riley Gaines, bomb threat because of you. Matt Walsh, bomb threat because of you. Matt Walsh, woman murdered because of you. You've all got blood on your hands. jeez. Okay. This is all getting very depressing. Is just related to that again as well. The bigot who murdered the woman with a pride flag on her business is a Matt Walsh fan. This follows Matt Walsh going on a rant on his podcast saying the pride flag deserves our disrespect. Matt Walsh is directly inspiring murder and terrorism. Yeah. Okay, so ending with something kind of nice. I gotta get going. But I wanted to play this cute little video because it's nice. There's a little bit of. It's getting pretty worked up there. This is a giant cat, and it's sitting on this little kid's desk. Here we go. Kitty. I want a cat like that. To be fair, I'm not that small of a human, so I suppose it would, maybe it's just like one of those things when you've got like a small thing next to a big, like a kind of small thing. There are bigger. The European short hair cats are unofficially reported to be the size of a bobcat. Jesus Christ. British short hair differs from that. And the largest European short hair cats. I want to see this. European short hair. No, it doesn't look like a fucking big cat at all. Short hair, big. Big cat. Big cat. No. Well, that was disappointing. I was hoping for like a giant kitty. I mean, it was kind of giant, that one there. Anyway, hey, thank you for those who joined in. I appreciate you being here, Jamie and Torin. If you're still there, thank you for joining in. Yeah, I'm pretty confident that Matt Walsh is privately happy about people being murdered. He wouldn't say it on the thing. Obviously, he's got to keep up the appearances of being, just like Riley Gaines and her bullshit. But I think he's definitely privately happy about this. So. It'll be interesting to see when, like leaked audio comes out of Matt Walsh being like, oh, actually, I'm quite happy that trans person was murdered because of me. That will be an interesting day. In the meantime, I'm going to go do some songwriting. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day. I'm sorry if I got a little bit upset there, but I fucking hate these people.